You are not a product of your circumstances. You are a product of your beliefs. Everything you experience, every success, every failure, every step forward or setback is not just a result of what's happening around you. It's a reflection of what's happening within you. Take a moment to look at your life, look at your relationships, your health, your finances, your peace of mind. Every single part of your experience begins in one place, your belief system. What you believe about yourself, the world, and what's possible becomes the foundation of your reality. If you believe you are limited, life will constantly remind you of your limits. If you believe you're not worthy of love or success, your world will mirror that belief again and again. But the very moment you change your beliefs, your life begins to shift. And it doesn't take years. Sometimes all it takes is a decision. You are more powerful than you've ever been taught to believe. You are not your past. You are not your mistakes. You are not the voice of doubt that whispers in the back of your mind. You are a divine creation filled with the potential to choose a new story, a new energy, a new path. If you want to change your life, you don't need to beg the universe. You need to align with it. You need to start believing that what you seek is already on its way, already available, already within you. Speak life over your dreams. Affirm your vision. Visualize with faith, not with fear. Don't just wish, believe, because your belief is the signal you send to the universe. It's the vibration that attracts people, circumstances, and opportunities that match your inner world. Say to yourself, I am capable, I am worthy, I am enough. Say it even when it feels untrue, especially when it feels untrue. Because belief is not always built on evidence, it often builds the evidence. Don't let your past define your future. Don't let the opinions of others dim your inner knowing. Stand firm in your truth. Dream bigger. Expect more. Love deeper. Live braver. The truth is simple. You don't become what you want. You don't become what you try to force. You become what you believe. So start today, right now, not just thinking differently, but believing differently. That shift alone can change everything. Everything that you experience in life, whether it feels positive or negative, empowering or limiting, joyful or painful, begins with a single, often unnoticed foundation: your beliefs. These are not just the ideas you consciously think about or express in words. Beliefs are deeply embedded thought patterns that shape how you see the world, how you interpret events, and ultimately, how you behave in response to them. Most people move through life reacting to external circumstances, believing that they are at the mercy of luck, fate, or other people's actions. But the truth is, long before the world gives you an outcome, your inner beliefs have already written the script. When you believe you are capable, you naturally step into challenges with confidence. You take risks, you speak up, you show up fully. And because of that, you often succeed. Not because the situation was easier, but because your belief allowed you to access more of your potential. On the other hand, when you believe you are not good enough, not worthy, or not capable, even the smallest task can feel overwhelming. You might hesitate, withdraw, or avoid action altogether. The world then reflects that back to you, not because it's judging you, but because your belief has filtered your reality through a lens of limitation. Beliefs are not passive. They are active forces shaping your thoughts, emotions, energy, and decisions every single day. You might not even realize how much they influence your life until you try to do something new and feel the invisible resistance of your own self-concept pushing back. That's the moment to become conscious. Because once you become aware of your beliefs, you are no longer a slave to them. You can choose which ones to keep and which ones to release. It's important to understand that belief is not always based on logic or fact. A belief can be formed by a single experience, a repeated message from a parent or teacher, or a cultural idea passed down for generations. The mind doesn't always check whether something is true, it simply accepts it if it's repeated enough. That's why changing your belief system is not about forcing positivity or pretending everything is perfect. It's about gently questioning the beliefs that no longer serve you and replacing them with new ones that empower you. Consider this. Two people can go through the exact same experience, say a job rejection, but walk away with entirely different meaning. One person might believe, I'm not good enough, while the other might believe, this just wasn't the right opportunity for me. Something better is coming. Their beliefs shape not only how they feel in the moment, but what they do next. One might give up, and the other might keep going, and eventually succeed. The difference isn't the situation, it's the belief. So often we try to change our lives by fixing things on the outside, getting a better job, finding a new relationship, making more money. But the real shift happens when we go inward and change what we believe is possible for us. When your internal world shifts, your external world must follow. This isn't wishful thinking, it's energetic alignment. The universe in all its complexity and intelligence responds not to what you say you want, but to what you truly believe you deserve. Your beliefs act as instructions for your subconscious mind. They tell it what to focus on, what to ignore, and how to respond. When you believe something is possible, your mind begins to find pathways to that reality. Opportunities appear not because they weren't there before, but because your belief allows you to see them. That's the power you hold, not in controlling everything around you, but in consciously shaping the way you see yourself and the world. You become what you believe, not just in theory, but in practice, in energy, and in the results that show up in your life. At any given moment, life may present challenges, setbacks, or situations that feel overwhelming. You might look around and see circumstances that appear limiting: financial struggles, broken relationships, a lack of opportunities, or a health issue that seems beyond your control. It's easy to let these external conditions define who you are. It's natural to begin believing that what's happening to you is somehow a reflection of your worth, your identity, or your destiny. But the truth is far deeper. You are not your circumstances. You are the awareness behind them. You are the force that observes, chooses, and transforms. Circumstances are temporary. They are shifting sand, not solid ground. They come and go, often shaped by decisions you made long ago, or by the decisions of others, or even by chance. They are not a verdict on your value. Yet so many people anchor their identity in the external job titles, income, where they live, how others treat them. When things go well, they feel worthy. When things fall apart, they feel broken. But worth is not something the world gives you. It is something you carry with you at all times, untouched by what surrounds you. When you begin to detach your self-worth from your situation, something powerful happens. You take back your ability to choose. You may not control what happened to you, but you always control your response. Your mindset, your energy, your actions, these are always within your hands. That's where your true power lives. No job loss, breakup, illness, or hardship can take that away from you, unless you allow it to. The question is not, what is happening to me, but rather, who do I choose to be, regardless of what's happening? The world may try to label you. It may point to your mistakes, your failures, or your current struggle, and try to reduce you to them. But that label is not your truth. You are not unemployed, divorced, depressed, or lost. These are experiences you are having, not who you are. Just like a cloudy day does not mean the sun has disappeared, difficult circumstances do not mean your light is gone. It is simply covered, waiting for you to reconnect with it. Some of the most extraordinary people in the world have come from the most difficult circumstances. What sets them apart is not luck or privilege, it's perspective. They refused to let their current reality become their permanent identity. They saw beyond their situation and reached for something more. They recognized that life is not what happens around you. It is what you choose to create from within. This shift in awareness doesn't mean denying what you're going through. It doesn't mean pretending everything is fine or running from reality. It means recognizing that even in the darkest hour, there is a space within you, untouched by fear, shame, or defeat. That space is who you really are. And when you begin to live from that place, everything starts to change, not necessarily because your circumstances shift immediately, but because you do. And when you change, you influence your environment in ways you could never have predicted. You are the author of your story, not a character trapped in someone else's script. Even if the first chapters were painful or messy, you hold the pen now. You get to decide how the next page is written. And it begins not with fixing your external world, but with reclaiming your inner truth. You are not your past. You are not your pain. You are not your circumstances. You are the powerful awareness that can rise above all of it and create something new, something true, something worthy of who you really are. Change doesn't wait for the perfect moment, nor does it require everything around you to be ready. It doesn't need ideal conditions or even for you to have all the answers. Real change begins with something much more personal and much more powerful, a decision. One clear, committed, and conscious decision can shift the entire course of your life. You don't need to know every step ahead of you. You just need to decide that the way things have been is no longer how they're going to be. It's easy to believe that change happens when the external world aligns. When you get the job, lose the weight, find the relationship, or move to a new place. But in truth, every external transformation begins with an internal choice. The moment you decide that you're no longer going to tolerate what you've been settling for, whether it's fear, doubt, unhealthy habits, or people who drain your energy, you create space for something new to emerge. The decision itself doesn't need to be loud or dramatic. Sometimes it's quiet, happens in a moment of reflection, in the silence of your own thoughts. It's that point where you say, enough, not in anger but in clarity. You realize that no one is coming to change your life for you. And in that realization, there is great freedom. Because if no one else is responsible, then you are fully empowered. You hold the key. A real decision is not just wishful thinking. It is backed by action. It's not I want to change or I should change. It's I will and I. It is the shift from hoping to doing, from dreaming to becoming. The strength of your decision determines the strength of your follow-through. The more deeply you commit, the more power you unlock. Your energy changes, your mindset sharpens, your focus deepens. You stop entertaining distractions that no longer fit your new direction. Many people wait to feel motivated before making a decision, but motivation follows action. When you make a firm decision and start moving, even in small steps, momentum builds. You begin to feel different because you are different. One small decision repeated over time becomes a habit. That habit becomes a pattern. That pattern becomes a lifestyle. And that lifestyle becomes your new reality. Sometimes we avoid making real decisions because we fear what we'll lose. Comfort, familiarity, approval from others. But the truth is, the cost of staying the same is often far greater than the discomfort of change. Every time you choose not to decide, life decides for you. Indecision is still a decision. It's a decision to stay where you are. And over time, that can become a prison. There's great power in realizing that you don't have to have it all figured out to start. You only need to decide who you want to be in this moment. Decide to speak kindly to yourself. Decide to show up for your dreams, even when it's hard. Decide to stop waiting for signs and start becoming the sign. Decide to stop telling the same story about why you can't and start writing the story about how you will. You may not control the past, you may not control every event in the future, but you do control this moment. And this moment is where your power lives. Every major change begins in the present with one firm, conscious decision to rise above old patterns and choose something better. So don't underestimate the simple but sacred act of deciding, because in that decision is the beginning of everything you've ever wanted to become. There is a belief in the world that the more effort you put in, the more success you will receive. Work harder, push more, grind longer. That's what we're told. And while effort has its place, it is not the source of true transformation. What creates lasting change, deep fulfillment, and effortless flow is alignment. When your thoughts, emotions, energy, and actions are in harmony with your purpose, your values, and your inner truth, things begin to unfold with far less resistance. Life begins to support you, not because you're forcing it, but because you're finally in tune with it. Alignment is not laziness, it's clarity. It's the understanding that your energy is more powerful than your exhaustion. You can spend years chasing goals that were never meant for you, striving to meet expectations that don't align with your soul, and forcing things that feel heavy, draining, or disconnected. And no matter how much effort you put in, the results never quite feel right. That's because effort without alignment creates burnout. It moves you forward, but not necessarily in the direction of your deepest truth. Think of alignment as tuning and if a piano is out of tune, no matter how passionately you play it, the sound will be off. But when it's tuned properly, even the softest note resonates beautifully. Your life works the same way. When you are aligned with your authentic self, your thoughts become clearer, your choices become more intentional, and your actions become more impactful. You don't have to push so hard, things begin to flow. This doesn't mean you'll never face challenge. It means that when you do, you'll face them from a place of inner stability.
You won't be blindly reacting, you'll be consciously responding. When you're aligned, you know when to act and when to allow. You know when to speak and when to listen. You know what is truly meant for you and what is simply noise, pulling you away from your center. Many people spend their lives trying to control the outside world while ignoring the chaos within. They hustle, strive, and exhaust themselves in pursuit of success that never feels quite satisfying. But success without alignment is empty. It's like climbing a ladder, only to realize it was leaning against the wrong wall. When you're aligned, success feels different. It's not just achievement, it's fulfillment. It nourishes you instead of depleting you. The most important work you can do is the inner work of aligning your thoughts with your values, your beliefs with your desires, and your energy with your intention. This might require slowing down. It might mean letting go of goals that were driven by ego instead of purpose. It might even mean disappointing others to stay true to yourself. But that temporary discomfort is nothing compared to the lifelong peace that comes from living in alignment. Effort is a tool. Alignment is the compass. Without direction, effort can take you far off course. With alignment, even small steps move mountains. It's not about doing more, it's about doing what matters most. It's about being guided by a deeper intelligence, a quiet inner knowing that doesn't shout but always tells the truth. You don't have to fight your way forward. You don't have to hustle endlessly to prove your worth. You are already worthy, and when you live from that truth, everything begins to change. Opportunities come not because you chased them, but because you became the version of yourself who attracts them. That's the beauty of alignment. It doesn't just change what you do, it changes who you are while you're doing it. In alignment, life feels less like a battle and more like a dance. You're not struggling to survive, you're flowing with intention, purpose, and clarity. That is where your true power lives. The words you speak to yourself daily are not just passing thoughts. They are seeds being planted in the soil of your subconscious mind. Over time, they grow into the beliefs that shape how you see yourself and how you show up in the world. This is why affirmations, intentional, positive statements, spoken repeatedly, are so powerful. They don't just inspire temporary motivation. They help construct a new identity from the inside out. Every thought you think and every word you say to yourself carries energy. If you constantly repeat phrases like "I can't," "I'm not good enough," or "I always mess things up," those thoughts become familiar. And what becomes familiar begins to feel true, even if it's not. The mind doesn't always distinguish between what is real and what is repeated. Over time, it will begin to build an identity that matches the dominant thoughts you feed it. That identity then becomes your lens, the filter through which you interpret experiences, make decisions, and engage with others. Affirmations work by interrupting this old narrative and replacing it with a new empowering one. They are not about pretending everything is perfect. They are about reminding yourself of who you truly are, underneath fear, self-doubt, and limitation. Saying, "I am worthy, I am capable, or I am enough," may feel uncomfortable at first, especially if you've spent years believing the opposite. But discomfort doesn't mean dishonest. It simply means you're stretching into a new version of yourself, one that aligns more with truth than with fear. The repetition of affirmations is key. Just as negative thoughts repeated over years create limiting beliefs, positive affirmations repeated consistently begin to rewire your mind. This isn't just spiritual theory, it's neuroscience. The brain is plastic, meaning it can be reshaped through repeated thought patterns. When you say something like, "I am confident," your brain begins looking for evidence to support. Over time, you start acting in ways that match that identity. It's not magic, it's mental conditioning. Affirmations are especially powerful when they are spoken with emotion and belief. Saying words mechanically will have limited impact. But when you speak them with feeling, as if they are already true, you activate the emotional brain, the part that drives habits and decision-making. Emotion gives your affirmations life. It moves them from intellectual statements to embodied truth. Using affirmations doesn't mean you'll never face doubt or struggle, but it does mean you'll be better equipped to face those moments with resilience. Instead of spiraling into self-criticism, you'll have a mental foundation that reminds you of your strength, even when things feel hard. Affirmations create a stable inner voice, one that encourages rather than condemns, uplifts rather than undermines. Over time, these affirmations become more than just phrases. They become part of your internal language. They shape the way you speak, think, and behave. And that's where identity is truly built, not from the outside in, but from the inside out. You begin to see yourself differently, and as a result, others begin to see you differently too. The energy you carry shifts, and the world responds. Affirmations are not about forcing belief. They are about choosing to feed the version of yourself that you want to grow into. Every time you speak one, you are casting a vote for the person you are becoming. And with each vote, your identity evolves, stronger, clearer, more aligned with the truth of who you are. In the world we live in, people are often taught to wait for proof before believing in something. We're told to be realistic, to only trust what can be seen, touched, or measured. But personal transformation, growth, and success don't start with evidence. They start with belief. The evidence comes later as a result of that belief. This is one of the most important truths to understand if you want to create lasting change in your life. Belief comes first. It is the seed, the spark, the foundation. Before you have the results, before you see the signs, you have to decide to believe in what's possible for you. It's easy to believe in something when it's already in front of you. It takes no courage to believe in your strength when you're already succeeding. It's simple to believe in abundance when you already have wealth. But real power lies in believing before there's a single piece of evidence. Believing you are worthy when you still feel broken. Believing your dreams are possible when nothing around you supports them. That's the kind of belief that moves mountains. It doesn't wait for circumstances to align. It causes them to shift. The universe, your mind, and your energy respond not to what you hope for with doubt, but to what you believe with conviction. When you begin to believe in a new version of yourself, your brain starts to work differently. You begin to make new choices, take new actions, and focus on new possibilities. You begin to show up in ways that align with that belief. Over time, those actions create new results, and the evidence finally appears. But it didn't lead the way. Your belief did. Waiting for proof before you believe is like a farmer waiting to see the crops before planting the seeds. It simply doesn't work that way. Growth requires faith. It requires a willingness to trust in the unseen, to commit to a vision that exists only in your heart and your mind. This kind of belief is not blind. It's intentional. It's not ignoring reality. It's choosing to create a new one by stepping into possibility before it's visible. So many people never start because they say, I'll believe it when I see it. But life often works in reverse. You see it because you believed it. You have to go first. You have to be willing to look beyond your current circumstances and say there's more. I may not have it yet, but I know it's coming. That inner knowing becomes a magnet for everything aligned with it. Belief before evidence is the foundation of every success story. Behind every business that changed an industry, every athlete who defied odds, every person who overcame pain and rose to greatness, there was a belief that came first. A voice inside them whispered, it's possible, and they listened, even when the world told them otherwise. That same voice exists inside of you. It may be quiet at first, drowned out by years of fear or doubt, but it's there, and the more you listen to it, the louder it gets. Each time you act in alignment with that belief, each time you show up, try again, speak your truth, you strengthen. Eventually, the belief becomes your reality. The evidence appears not as a miracle, but as the natural outcome of a mind and heart that refuse to give up on what they knew was possible. You don't have to wait for proof. You don't need permission. You simply need to choose to believe, not because the path is guaranteed, but because you are no longer willing to live a life dictated by fear, doubt, or limitation. Believe, act from that belief, and watch the evidence begin to unfold around you, piece by piece, step by step.